Hi there, my name's Lloyd Gilbert. I'm the guitar tech for Status Quo. I'm a new boy on the team. There's been a few people here that have been around for a long time, but I'm just finding my feet. Basically, my job is to look after Rick's and Francis's guitars, keep them in tune, make sure they work properly, make sure the amps and the effects work properly. As you can see, there's quite a few guitars and they're quite temperamental. This is Rick's #1 Telecaster, which I'm led to believe he's had right from day one. Done every show with Status Quo, which is pretty impressive. Strung with a string gauge that's not for the faint-hearted, 14 to 56, not very easy to play. Doesn't often go out of tune, and I think only he could play it for that amount of time. My fingers are aching just after tuning it up.
Well, I had a passion for Gretsches, but they're not really a Quo type guitar because I play it quite hard. That's my role, but as rhythm guitarist, it's part of the engine room and it has to pump hard. And so I discovered Fender Telecaster, which, in my case anyway, is the rock and roll Range Rover. And I had it stripped down. I had the bridge modified. So if you drop it or anything like that, nothing moves. It stays in tune. And I use strings like tram lines, you know, which are more subtle guitarists, shall we say, find, you know, how do you play this thing? But that's what I get used to, you know, ridges across the fingers and things.
Now, if we move on to Francis's guitars, the famous green Telecaster. It might have had a few change parts, nobody's really sure, and it is finished by the man himself. I think he used some kind of fence paint to get that effect. And he's tried to replicate it on a few others, but never managed to get that tone or that colour from any other thing.
In 1970 or 71, decided to go really hip and paint it matte black. It was like, I don't want to play this. Then I sanded it down again, took it home and painted it with this. I was doing lots of furniture bits at the time. I was buying these old bits of furniture, sanding them down and painting them. With my dad, we used to love doing it. Most of our gear, or lots of guitars, have been stolen, and they always leave that behind.
Unlike Rick, Francis uses a really light gauge of strings, 9 to 46, which, if you think about that compared with his gauge, different, weird mix, but it works. Two different tones completely.
I ended up with what we call nines. So it's 9, 11, 13, 20 something, 36, something like that. And I used to use 10s, and it makes a difference to the tone of the thing, to how you can bend and all that kind of stuff. But it's just a preference, you know. If I can diddly him a bit more, you can get around it a bit faster. But I know something. Jeff Beck, I think, plays almost Rick's tram lines and still just as fast and pure as anybody can. But Jeff can pull a set of strings off with one hand. I couldn't do that. The hand to come off.
I'm just checking on my tuner now to make sure the strings are up to pitch. When the green light is stable, that means that we're there. I normally string the main guitars about midday, spend most of the day stretching the strings, just so that by the time the show comes around, there's not really much room for error. It's just making sure that when the band go out, everything is as it should be, in tune and working properly. That's the crux of the job, really. Francis is using another variation of the Samson wireless system. Unlike Rick, he keeps one pack attached to his belt and just mutes his guitar and changes the guitars and not the pack. Very easy system. He's done it for years. It obviously suits him. Pick-wise, very different. Francis uses a standard 1mm pick. Doesn't play that hard. Whereas Rick's, again, because of his abnormally heavy string gauge, has his picks drilled through and they stick to his fingers like glue. He's never going to drop one of them, and I'm sure if he did, his fingers are strong enough to play without it anyway. So that's another part of the day, is drilling 4 little holes in loads of picks. So just a quick run through of what the guys actually use to get that famous Quo sound then. Both rigs very, very similar, but again, the sounds are totally different. Once again, the wireless system's the first port of call. The guitar comes into here, feeds through an effects loop, which will run into effects that Rick will kick in and out from a pedal board out at the front. It then routes back to 2 amplifiers, a Vox AC30 and a Marshall JCM 800, and a speaker simulator, which our front of house guy will blend to get that famous Rick Parfitt sound.
Working with Quo is actually fantastic. Sometimes they're a bit pissed off at night, but they come in the next day and apologise, you see. And then there's geezers like them over there, you know, pulling pranks on each other. Because they need, I don't know why.
I'm just saying, I'll put this one on, keep this one on for a week, and then I'll put the other one on. It's a good syrup though, this one. You never know, you know. Super syrup, so like this one. There we go. That's it. Let's rock. Is it straight? Nobody will ever know. Look at that. Perfect. Really a rock.
My name's Toot. I've worked for Status Quo for 13 years now. I actually have two jobs. I'm the drum technician, which means I look after Matthew, the drummer, his kit, everything that he needs during the show. I'm also stage manager, which means that I'm overall responsibility for everything that happens on the stage, with the trucks, the local crew, liaising between our crew and the house people during the day. So I have a fairly full day. They're a great bunch of lads to work for, Quo. I've got to know them fairly well now over the years, and what you see is what you get, really. They're completely down to earth. They've been there, seen it and done it all, and there's no airs or graces with them at all.
We've got about 60 channels of inputs, which is a lot for a four-piece band. Inputs for all the different drums, all the different guitars, all the different keyboards, obviously all the different vocals, and all the different bits on the stage have a separate microphone or a separate feed into the desk, so I can control what it does and then send it back into the PA system, which is what they hear. 60,000 watts sounds like a lot, but under control, it can all sound pretty good. You don't ever overload it. It's all about having headroom, so you don't go mad. They're very good. You couldn't work with more genuine people, to be honest with you. They're, I've been doing this 20 years, and they're some of the most genuine people I've ever worked with.
We travel overnight, so we haven't got nowhere to go tonight, but tomorrow night we'll go back to Leeds, I think. And that way you get the day off and you wake up in the town you're in. So, whereas last night we arrived at probably 3, and I think I managed to get laying down for 3:30, which meant I was going to sleep till 10:30. It takes 7 hours and a half, an hour here, or an hour here. She calls me, which wakes me up. I get up, then she comes round and we do juice, you know, fruit juice, stuff, Ritz, fruit juice, stuff like that. Wash, brush up, get to the venue, because Rick and I just to get there for 2 to eat, sleep, and then sound check. Our sound check is normal. We go up, if you don't waste my time, if that's fine, there's no problems. Me and John check out Anula's guitar, I check whatever you want guitar, down guitar. Rick checks his medley guitar, checks his 4500 guitar, and we leave the stage. We're not up there at all. And it's a bass drum I can hear, isn't it? Oh, lovely. The day Ricky's heart stopped in Basingstoke.